The women's basketball team still playing in the NIT.
And we'll take a look at the club rugby team as well. CU Sports Mag starts now.
How's it? Welcome to CU Sports Mag. I'm Nick Rothschild, alongside my partner Alexis Perry. Huge week in Colorado sports, Alexis.
Yeah, it definitely was. But you know what? Let's start here in Boulder as the women's basketball team took on Villanova in the NIT. Villanova came out firing on all cylinders with Lauren Buford hitting Lindsay Kimmel on the drive here for two. But the Buffs will keep it tight. Lexi Kressel schools three Nova defenders as she drives down the lane and lays it up. Kressel found herself more involved on the defensive end, but Nova could cool off Nova's Emily Lear as she knocks down three of her team's leading 16 points. But the game was back and forth affair, and Colorado would encounter with Brittany Wilson finding Megan Malcolm Peck. The girl is so nice she named her twice. Chucky Jeffrey gets in on the action, putting in two of her game-high 19, going right around Villanova's Jessie Carey, and the Buffs defense gets into the action here. Wilson knocks away Nova's pass and takes it coast to coast for the easy stop and pop.
Yeah, looking good, Wilson. Here she goes trying to pump up the crowd, and she's even going to get the Coors Event Center crowd into it right here. The Buffs would not disappoint. Kressel finds some room in the corner and knocks down a three, but the seesaw game would swing back in Nova's favor. The Wildcats would answer with a Kimmel three all the way from Westminster and another Lear bucket to even up the score. But the Buffs' Chucky Jeffrey here would not be denied. She's a senior and she doesn't want to stop playing, does she? No way. She goes all AI here on Nova's Devin Kane. No questions in this one, just the answer. When it came down to it, the Buffs were up 48-47 with just seconds left, and Kane ISO'd up on Kressel. Kressel not normally known for her defense, but here she came up huge. Shot goes begging, and the Buffs rejoice. Final score, 48-47. Let's check out what Linda Lappy had to say.
I realized they were going to ISO me as soon as she started bobbling around kind of, and yeah, I was a little nervous, but then I just decided I'll just do it.
We knew that it was going to kind of come down to the wire. They're a good shooting team, and when they're open, they don't see a hand is going down, so it kind of went down to the wire, and we just had to bear down and play defense.
I loved how gutsy we were. I loved our tenacity. A lot of things about that game that we're going to take from it and move forward and hopefully keep going.
Now, after the men's team pulled off the upset against UNLV last Thursday, they were one of the hottest teams in college basketball. Saturday, they took on 3-seed Baylor, and unfortunately, they ran into the scorching right arm of Brady Heslip. Heslip put up 27 points on 9 of 12 shooting from distance. The Buffs would not go away quietly, though. 4 Buffs were in double digits for scoring, including team-leading Askia Booker, who put up 15. Carlin Brown chipped in one of his signature tomahawk slams, and Robertson fell just 2 rebounds short of his third straight double-double. The Buffs' defense held strong against Baylor's big men. They held the dynamic duo of Quincy Acee and Perry Jones III to just 14 points, and other than Heslip, the Colorado D held Baylor to just 53. Despite their efforts, a 22-8 Baylor run down the stretch put the game out of reach. The Buffs lost 80-63, but nothing can take away that fantastic run all of us Buff fans were lucky to witness.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats from this matchup. CU lost 63-82 Baylor. Rocker had 15 points, while Default had 14 for the Buffaloes.
And there's Brady Heslip with his 27. Of course, I said 9 of 12 shooting from distance. And Pierre Jackson also had 15 points. So a good-looking team there from Baylor.
The men's basketball 2012 recruiting class was already ranked in the top 25 of the nation, but got even better this past week. Tad Boyle rounded out his recruiting class by signing point guard Eli Salzer from Mater Dei High School in Los Angeles, California. If the name Mater Dei sounds familiar, that's because he's teammates with another Buff recruit, Xavier Johnson. Johnson is ranked in the ESPNU Top 100 players, but Salzer has come up strong at the end of the season, and it caught Boyle's attention. Boyle hopes that Salzer can replace some of the productivity lost from departing senior Nate Tomlinson. Don't go anywhere. Sports Mag's Derek Kessinger joins us on the desk for a lesson in bracketology.
Yeah, that's right. And we'll take a look back at the best moments of this year's men's basketball season. Stay tuned.
CU students who join the Peace Corps are usually very adventurous people, very outdoorsy. They usually are very caring, very passionate people.
For the second year in a row, CU Boulder has outproduced all other universities in the nation, both big and small, in the number of alumni who are serving as Peace Corps volunteers. That's a very, very important thing for us. Peace Corps continues to be the gold standard for international volunteer service. It's Americans making a difference around the world, and many of those Americans have come from this great university. I'm not sure if it's a beautiful setting or the mountains or the weather, but one thing's for sure, there's a special civic pride on this campus.
The great spirit of volunteerism here on campus and internationalism that you find here really just kind of brings Peace Corps out a little more than it does on other campuses, I think.
You should be very proud to come from a campus that inspires so much public service and collectively works to build a better world.
She is one of America's toughest drug enforcement agents. Last year, she helped convict 90 drug dealers, seize several tons of crack and marijuana, and close down 10 major drug operations. She is a 68-year-old grandmother named Irma. She set up a community drug watch that is not only changing her neighborhood, but its future. There are many ways to help in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Lewis and Clark, great explorers. Hey. Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. Would you check out the West for me? Oh, sure. And they take their keelboat up the Missouri. Oh, Buffalo. Then they built Fort Mandan. There in 1804. Made some friends along the way. I'm Sacagawea. Through the Columbia Gorge.
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
The sweet Pacific Ocean! Yay!
The women's basketball team came out on top in the second round of the women's NIT on Monday evening. The Buffs' 64-55 win over South Dakota brought an end to the Coyotes' best season in Division I school history. Colorado's Chucky Jeffrey kept the Coyotes on their toes with 23 points and 10 rebounds. Raking in her 8th double-double of the season, all 5 of Colorado's starters had at least 5 rebounds, 19 on the offensive side alone. This win allowed them to advance to the next round where they defeated Villanova. Although the Buffaloes are no longer in contention in the NCAA tournament, CU fans are still fired up from that impressive run the Buffs had.
CU Sports Mag's Carrie Gill gives us a look in this week's Man on the Street.
There's still a little excitement left over from CU's March Madness run. I'm here in Norland Quad, taking a few students away from their sunbathing to get their take on this year's basketball season.
What did you do for the game?
I was actually in Albuquerque for both games.
We went to Pearl and we tried to get into the Lazy Dock, but it was just too packed.
We drove down there.
I had to work. Otherwise, I would have loved to watch it.
Did they play like you thought they would?
I thought that they played like I thought they would, yeah.
I expected them to do this well. I thought they were going to beat UNLV, even though they were ranked. They stopped playing basketball for about 5 minutes.
Definitely thought this year would be more of like a rebuilding year, so it was cool to see them go so far.
I was surprised that we won the Pac-12 considering, you know, the caliber of teams that are there, like UCLA, but I guess it just wasn't their year.
With the Buffs out, how's your bracket looking?
Terrible. It's doing pretty bad.
Oh, terrible. Between Missouri and, I mean, I never had Duke going very far, but I definitely had Missouri in my Final Four. It's bad.
I didn't fill one out.
What does the phrase roll Tad mean to you?
A lot of things. I don't know. I really, really respect Tad Boyle. I find him one of the best coaches that this program has ever seen.
Makes me remind of my pick of Alabama. That was a huge mistake.
Is TAD an acronym? I really don't know. I've heard it before.
Roll Tad? No idea.
I think Tad's doing a great job, and I just hope that we can go farther into the tourney next year. Roll Tad!
Despite the second round loss, CU students are still optimistic for Buffs in the future. Carrie Gill, CU Sports Mag.
Thanks, Carrie. Colorado and Nebraska are no longer in the same conference, but the Cornhuskers just can't seem to get the Buffs off their mind. Nebraska reportedly had CU basketball coach Tad Boyle near the top of their wish list to fill their coaching vacancy after firing Doc Sadler. The Cornhuskers reached out to see if there was any interest from the Boulder native to coach in Lincoln, but sources close to Boyle said he had, quote, no interest. Boyle called Colorado his dream job when he took over in 2010, and he signed a contract extension earlier this season, keeping him in Boulder until at least 2015. The C Unit let their voices be heard the past 2 weeks as they willed the Buffs to victory in Los Angeles at the Pac-12 tournament, and then in Albuquerque for the NCAA tournament. All in all, 150 students made the trips to watch the Buffs play, and now we know how. Private donations totaling $67,200 were made to the CU Athletic Department in order for the students to support the Buffs on the road. CU used the money to provide transportation to the events, provide hotel rooms, and to pay for the students' tickets to all 6 games. Athletic Director Mike Bones said the idea of paying the way for students is unique to the Buffs, and he hopes to continue it in the future.
The CU men's basketball team had its best season in school history, finishing 19-11 in the regular season, making an improbable run to clinch the Pac-12 conference title, and advancing to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. Here's a look at some of the best highlights from this record-breaking season.
The C Unit has 2, 1, 2, 3, get back to bass kicks that boom to get your facelift, and vibrations in the kicks like K-Swiss. It's laced with hi-hats to speed it up, then breaks and 808s to slow it down like Matrix. Break it down complex like David Blaine tricks and leave it to air divide. Take it back to basic, criticize delays as a stupid illusion. Put it all together in its musical fusion. Folks in air divide is like immaculate conception. Put it all together in its actual perfection. Come through only to make a statement, so we make his it's back to the recession. A show with us is like a borealic light show. 100,000 watts and it isn't a typo. Feeding all the lights showing up in different flavors. See the DJ tell them we need more laser. So tell the girls on the front of the stage that drinks are on me, grab another cold drink. Tell the bouncer at the back of the room to let everybody in that they have to get through. Tell the sound guy that I need more bass cause I've been more hyped up since I've been in 4th grade. Tell the bartender I don't need more chasers. Tell the DJ that I need more lasers. More lasers, more and more lasers. Tell the DJ that I need more lasers. More lasers, more and more lasers. Tell the DJ that I need more lasers. More lasers, more and more lasers. Tell the DJ that I need more lasers. More lasers, more and more lasers. Tell the DJ that I need more lasers.
Boy, that was fun. Well, this week's trivia question focuses on the future of the men's basketball team, and what a bright future that is. While Andre Robertson and Carlin Brown led the team in points per game this season, fresh faces Spencer Dinwiddie and Askia Booker held their own. What record did Dinwiddie and Booker break this season? Mull it over and we'll have the answer later on. This weekend is the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 rounds of the NCAA tournament, where teams have a chance to punch their ticket to the Final Four.
Sports Mag's Rose Heafy and Andy McDonald have more details. Take it away.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Double Team Set. I'm Andy McDonald, sitting alongside Rose Heafy, and well, it's March, and it's March Madness time. And although the Buffaloes did get knocked out in the 3rd round in Albuquerque, you were there. Take me through what happened there in Albuquerque against Baylor for the Buffs?
Well, honestly, it was a really, really heartbreaking loss for the Buffs. They came out, pretty strong. It was a bit of a back and forth. They were trailing pretty much the entire game. They were down by 2 at halftime, but they came out really strong in the second half, and they even got up. They got by as much as 3, but then they really just hit a brick wall, and the Baylor just took the game away. And a lot of that had to do with Brady Heslip. He was amazing in that game. He went 9 for 12 for the 3-pointers, 27 points. It's kind of hard to beat a team where you have a guard he's just draining all those threes.
It's true. It was a career high for Heslip, and Heslip is tough guarding him on the perimeter, but the Buffaloes played so well interior against Perry Jones III. Austin Dufault, Andre Robertson played so well inside, stopping the interior play that they had to resort to the outside shot, and lucky enough for Baylor, they were making those shots. But what do you get a feel for the Buffaloes kind of moving into March Madness? We haven't seen the Buffaloes there that late in the postseason in quite a while, but what kind of feel did you get from them in Albuquerque?
Well, in Albuquerque, it was really exciting. The fans are really into it. Of course, they had all the C Unit people out there. It was really, really exciting. And, I think there was definitely a vibe that they want to be there next year. I mean, the team, some of the players like Askia Booker and Spencer Dinwiddie and Andre Robertson, they're young. They're going to be there. They want to be there in the future. And, the fans want to see them out there as well.
That's true, and we don't want to get too optimistic toward the future. The first time in the Big 12, they came out and they went to the NCAA tournament, and then they won 13 games the next year. So we don't want to get too optimistic, But those are those players you want to talk about again. Andre Roberson, let's go to him, the sophomore, soon to be junior, and he's going to be a star player for the Buffs next year.
Absolutely. Now, Andre Roberson, now he is averaging a double-double. I mean, that is just great. Great numbers. And not only was he one of the best rebounders in the Pac-12, he was one of the best in the nation. So as a sophomore going into a junior now position, he's really going to have that pressure to stand up and be that leader on the team, even more than before, because, you know, you're going to be missing those players like Austin Dufall and Nate Tomlinson and Carlin Brown. So he's definitely going to be one of the key people. Now, looking kind of at, I guess, the freshmen that this year, what do you think about Spencer Dinwiddie and Askia Booker?
I really like where Spencer Dinwiddie's coming. He's a little big for a point guard, but that's what he's going to be playing a lot of next year. And Tad Boyle is just going to put the offense in his hands, and he's more of a scoring threat than a passer, but nonetheless, Buffs are going to have to score next year, and I like what Spencer Dinwiddie has done with the ball. He got his confidence right there in the Pac-12 tournament, moving into the NCAA tournament, and I like his confidence moving into his sophomore year. Kind of get your bearings around you, and then moving into your sophomore year. Same thing with Askia Booker. Askia's got to figure that out, and he will get there eventually.
Yeah, and Askia Booker, I thought he had a really great showing in the postseason. He was the leading scorer for the Buffs in both games, and that's really great as a freshman, especially on this team that's not supposed to be good in the NCAA tournament. There he goes. He scores, I believe, 15 in the first game, and I believe actually 16 against UNLV and 15 against Baylor. So great showing by Askia Booker. I think we're going to see a lot more of him as he probably is going to move into that starting position. Now, what can we look at with the incoming freshmen?
Well, we had 4 graduating seniors and 6 incoming freshmen. So we got a lot of talent from California and Colorado, and Tad Boyle's really recruiting them well. And I like to see we got a lot of athleticism coming in here this year and next year. One of the top 20 recruiting classes coming to Boulder next year, and Tad Boyle's really got this thing kind of getting momentum. And I really like where it's headed, especially the 2 players out of Colorado.
Actually, yeah, we actually have 3 players coming out of Colorado. We have Xavier Talton from Sterling High School, Joshua Scott from Lewis Palmer High School, and Wesley Gordon from Sierra High School. And I actually got to see the 2, Wesley Gordon and Scott, play in the championship, and Scott won. So great future, I think, ahead for the Buffs this season.
I'm really excited for the future, as are you and the rest of the Buffs fans. But that's all the time we have here on the Double Team set. For Rose Heafy, I'm Andy McDonald. We're going to send it back to the desk.
Thanks, guys. Now our own Mr. Brackets is here, Derek Kessinger, to talk a little bracketology. Now I have Kentucky winning it all. Is there any reason Kentucky should be worried here in the next couple weeks?
Well, they still do have a few worries. First of all, they have the freshman factor. They have a young team. That's the way that Calipari likes to build his teams, but that hurts you the longer you go into the tournament. As well, you also have Indiana, who beat them earlier in the year. And on top of that, you have the Baylor-Xavier matchup. Both those teams are going to play. That should be an interesting game, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, another tough matchup is that 4-7 Louisville versus Florida. What are both teams going to be looking at to kind of get to the Final Four?
Well, this is really a game between 2 veteran coaches. You have Pitino for Louisville, and then you also have, for Florida, Billy Donovan. Both of them have been here before, so that matchup is key for these 2 teams that no one really expected being a 4 and a 7.
Now, Syracuse survived against Wisconsin yesterday, and that's kind of been their MO for the whole tournament. Will they survive and make it to the Final Four?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they have maybe the best 2 seed left, Ohio State playing them, coming from the Big 12, all those big matchups. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull that off.
Yeah, last question real quick here. Ohio versus NC State, 13 versus 11. Is it possible?
NC State's looked like the best team in the tournament. I think it's definitely possible.
All right, thanks, Derek. Nice work out there, and let's see what happens in the tournament coming up.
After the break, the women's golf team is making a name for itself this season.
Also, Sports Mag's Leo Wolfson met up with the club rugby team. We'll be right back.
We won 24 NCAA championships, sent 18 NASA astronauts into space, inspired 4 Nobel laureates, unlocked the genetic secrets of cancer in a place that averages over 300 days of sunshine a year, ranks as America's smartest and healthiest city, and is home to the mightiest mascot in college sports. If you didn't know what the University of Colorado is all about, now you do.
This
house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
The news feed for the CU Sports Mag Twitter account has been blowing up this week from all the great Buff fans out there in the Twitterverse. Like always, we would like to recognize a few Colorado-centered accounts. First off, we'd like to send a special thank you to the CU Buffs and CU Boulder alumni for putting on such a spectacular pregame event down at the Pit last weekend. It was truly a memorable weekend with all of their support. Also, we would like to give a shout out to Radio 1190's News Underground, CU's very own independent radio station, for covering everything CU athletics every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at CU Sports Mag and interact with us for a chance to be mentioned on air.
CU's football team may be starting their spring practices, but there's another team in the practice bubble.
Sports Mag's Leo Wolfson met up with CU's club rugby team to see how they're shaping up this season.
Rugby team is preparing for their upcoming game this Saturday against Air Force Academy. The game will be quite the challenge as the Air Force Academy is a much larger sized team. They have been practicing here in the Dome to prepare for this upcoming match. I thought I'd stop by and talk to some of these guys, see what they're doing to get ready for the game.
Big game for us. It will keep us at the top of the West Division or move us down the bottom if we lose. And Air Force is a big rival, so it's a big game. So they're a big team. They run really hard.
It's going to be a tough game, though. Air Force is a good team.
The team is doing everything they can to prepare for this game, whether it be practicing scrums or pushing their teammates around while they stand on carts. The rugby squad is making sure that every detail is dialed in for their test on Saturday.
We're sort of stirring up an emotional pot for these guys. A couple weeks ago, we went down to Tucson and played Arizona, and we lost a real tight game that we felt we should have won. And so the guys have been a little bit upset, to say the least, since then.
They have the friendly confines of the CU practice bubble to help channel their tensions.
I mean, I tell you, on a day outside when it's sleeting and the wind's blowing 80 miles an hour, you come in here and it's nice and warm.
Their protein powder hookup doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, it's Max Muscle, actually. Max Muscle. So they're our sponsors, and they're awesome.
It looks like the CU rugby team has found ways to prepare their mind, body, and soul for their big match with Air Force. And it's safe to say that these Buffs won't be afraid to get a little riled up. Wolfson, Sports Mag.
The women's golf team won the 2012 Clover Cup hosted by Notre Dame in Mesa, Arizona. They finished ahead by 31 strokes with a team score of 855 in 3 rounds. The Buffs' first round was a school record and the first time CU finished 10 or more strokes below par in a round. The girls also finished 1, 2, 3 in the final individual standings and had 4 golfers in the top 6. This was the golf team's 8th tournament win in school history and the 2nd this season. CU moved up to number 11 in Golf Week and number 14 in GolfStat. Next up is the Buffs' trip to Maui, Hawaii, where they plan a spring break challenge on Monday and Tuesday.
CU's club freestyle ski team brought home gold last week from the U.S. Collegiate Ski Association's National Championships. The tournament was a 10-day affair in Sunday River, Maine, at which Jeremy Brown won the slopestyle competition and was named a first-team All-American. Brown also won the skier cross-country event and placed 2nd in the halfpipe. Last year, the team finished 2nd to Southern Cal, and they were able to withstand a late push by the Trojans this year to win the title. The dust is still settling from the NFL earthquake that was Manning Mania, and it looks like we could be in for a few more aftershocks. The first shock was Tim Tebow's abrupt departure to Rex Ryan and the Jets amidst contract controversy. Shock 2 came today when the Broncos signed tight ends Joel Dreesen and Jacob Tamme to add to Manning's arsenal. And in the coming days, we could see Denver make a move to acquire Steelers Pro Bowl wideout Mike Wallace. Even if the Broncos can't land Wallace, there's no doubt the Manning-led offense will be lighting up the scoreboard come September.
CU added another to its women's lacrosse team. Find out who.
We've had some beautiful Colorado weather here. Audie Streetman's up next with the forecast. Well, but I thought I was still...
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Good nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
Hey, Bobo, where's your video game? In here. Well, look at this. Uh-oh, it's my dad's. You want to hold it? What'll I do?
If you get my new comic activity book, More Adventures with Scruff, you'll find out what you can do about bullies and guns. And you'll see lots of games.
Cool.
For your free copy of my new comic activity book, just write Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and help take a bite out of crime.
I want it, I want it.
You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
Well, it looks like the CU women's lacrosse team has 2 new recruits, Alexis.
Yes, they do. Ellis Stapp and Tori Link became the first 2 recruits to commit to the new lacrosse program on Tuesday evening.
Yeah, congrats, guys. Well, let's take a look at that answer to the trivia question. Think you have it yet? Let's remind you of the question first. What record did Spencer Dinwiddie and Askia Booker break this season? The answer? Dinwiddie and Booker are the first 2 freshmen in school history to score 300 points in their first season at CU. Boy, what a great start for those guys.
Yeah, you know, they were 2 really clutch players this season, and I really look forward to seeing them next year on the court. I know it's going to be really great.
Sky's the limit for those guys.
You know, it's been beautiful here in Boulder, and I really hope it continues over spring break. Here is CU Sports Mag's Audie Streetman. Take it away.
Thanks, guys. We have a really sunny, mild week to look forward to here in Boulder. It's also spring break, so for those students who are planning on staying in-state, you're going to see some great weather this week. Looking forward to our 7-day forecast. You can see Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will have highs in the upper to mid-70s, and then we'll cool down a little bit Monday through Friday. We'll see the high is going to be ranging from 63 to 68 degrees. We'll see the lows ranging from 39 to 48 degrees. So really mild week. We see a lot of, partially cloudy skies, and then we'll see some more sunshine. So that great weather that we're famous for here in Colorado. If you're planning on heading up to the high country, Copper Mountain is going to see some partially cloudy skies, highs in the 47 degrees, lows of 38 and 36 degrees. If you're going to Steamboat, which is where I'm going to be for spring break, you'll see Saturday and Sunday we're going to have some partially cloudy skies, highs of 61 degrees on Saturday and 63 degrees on Sunday, lows in the upper 20s and mid 30s as well. So some great weather here in Boulder. So if you're not going somewhere tropical or somewhere great for your vacation, don't fret, because we're going to have some great weather here in Boulder to look forward to for the rest of your spring break. Yeah, I'm really excited for Steamboat. Do you guys have anything fun planned for spring break?
Not really. I'm just going to spend some time with my family and enjoy this great weather. What about you?
I plan on catching some rays, man. I'm going to get out there and get my tan on.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, for Audie Streetman and Nick Roethlisberger.
I don't play quarterback.
Sorry.
I wish.
I'm Alexis Perry. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.